King.
Please don't do that, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
that'd be
I would
uncool.
like to have a career.
Yeah. Don't be a Quintes.
Don't be a Quintes. And on that. What's poppin', y'all? Welcome to Post Finale. I'm your host, Ankit Madhira. I'm an actor and a musician who has not seen a lot of films, so to make my friends happy and potentially provide a new perspective on some popular films, I am on a quest to change that. I am never on this quest alone, however. This week I am joined once again by avid movie watcher, business owner, a wonderful father and husband, and someone who loves Roman history, Michael Anderson. Michael, welcome back to the show. How are you doing this week?
I'm well, thank you. Glad to be here.
Of course.
And yeah, good. It's a busy week. It's a busy week, but happy to take this time. It's a bright moment. So.
Wonderful. Well, I'm glad. It's a fairly stress-free guesting. I ask you to watch a film beforehand. You know, really taxing work over here to prep. All I ask is that you watch like half an hour of one of your favorite films. I'm so sorry. I apologize.
How could you?
Wonderful. Well, I'm really excited to jump back into Gladiator and talk about this next chunk of the film. But before we do, I do have a question for you.
Yes.
Now, I know, and the listeners learned that, you've done some acting in the past, you've put on productions, things like that. If you were in this film and you were playing a character, who would you want to play?
Oh, wow. That's a difficult one. But I love the question. Obviously, we all envision ourselves. I don't know about you. Me, I'll speak for myself and other people can draw their own conclusions. But oftentimes I think about myself in history and I think, we put ourselves in that hero role, that larger than life role. But really, I'm probably just a guy in the market, like buying a rat or something. Like that's actually me, in history. But we always want to think we're in that role. So there's that. But, obviously Maximus, amazing, his care for his family, the intensity, the thing that makes you aspire to be bigger than you are, and then there's having done acting, villains seem to get the best roles. So the best lines, the best mood. So obviously Commodus is pretty amazing. And then I think the last one is just, I love the, that they brought in, I've completely forgotten the name now, but Jim and Hansu's role, right? The black gentleman, right? That is in there, and they brought him in to kind of be that support and camaraderie in that kind of close friend that he didn't have coming into that setting, right? So anyway, which we'll get to, but anyway, so that's a hard question, man. A good question, but a hard question. So yeah, can I come back to you on it?
Yeah,
undecided.
Undecided. We'll come back to it.
Okay.
Look, where I am right now, I think Commodus would be like my top because I love playing villains. Give me a chance to play that villain, and I will. I love playing villains.
Love it.
And it's very fun because a lot of people know me as just like a fairly silly person, and then I'm just like, and then
and then it emerges. Yeah.
There's something really satisfying about getting to say things that I know that as Ankit I should never say.
That's gorgeous. I love it. Do you know? I'm sorry. Were you done? I just
no. Yeah.
Do you know My Chemical Romance, the band?
Yeah.
My Chemical Romance. Yeah. So right. So anyway, there's a whole history there. People can go look it up. But in it, one of the guitar player, Frank Iero, he has a solo project, and it's basically like death acid metal, like him just screaming. But then you interview him, and he's like, "Yeah, man, it's like super chill." And I met a guy here that's a aspiring producer here in town at one of the donut shops, and I'm talking to him, and he's like, "Oh, dude, I'm a Spotify." And I don't want to promo anything that's not, but anyway, he's Gloom Cujo or whatever. I don't know. You can edit that out? I don't know. Anyway, it's a small thing, but he's learning. But I listen to his stuff. I'm like, this dude has an ear. Like, he's good. But my point is that I'm talking to him, and he's like, oh, yeah, Hey, my name's such and such. Super, super chill. Then I listen to his music, and it's like death rap metal. It's just like, and it's like I'm like not something I could listen to all the time, but you can see the guy has skills. But it's just that juxtaposition, like everybody knows you as, hey, oh yeah, okay, yeah, man, and then you come out with this thing, this other part of you.
Like, I want to eat your brains.
Yes, yes, yes.
Hello.
Love it.
Day-to-day life. Hi, how's it going?
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. I'm very confused. And then the moment you step on the stage, hello.
Yeah. Yes.
How can I be of service today?
That's amazing.
You just get that, and it's just like, oh, okay, he's changed.
Yeah. Love it. That's so cool.
Lovely. So Gladiator, and what we're actually meant to be talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. Commodus, I feel like there's another character that I will probably also really want to play, and we just haven't met him yet.
Got it.
So, but I don't feel like I would be a good Maximus. I feel like I'd be a good Commodus, but I don't know if I can be a good Maximus. Just, I think I could be. Just don't know if that's the role that I would want to play.
Good point.
Like, I can play the role. I would prefer to play a villain.
Yeah, for sure.
So, lovely. Where we're at is Maximus heads outside of this tent after he's had his conversation with Caesar, and Caesar tells him, hey, I want you to be the next Caesar.
Right.
And so he's like, give me time. And he's like, all right, I'll give you until sundown. And we're like, well, that's not time, but sure. Lovely. Fantastic. Moving on. So, she knows the king's daughter is out there. I'm forgetting her name. What was her name? Her name was obviously not very important to me. Let's see. Looking at the notes from last week, Lucilla.
Yes, there you go. You got it.
There we go. We found her name. She's an important character, I think. I don't know. She did.
Yes.
She seems like she's important. Anyway, Lucilla knows that Caesar favors him, and Maximus starts to leave, but she tells him to turn around. He seems upset, and he's like, well, I lost many men. And she's just like, all right, what did Caesar want? And Maximus tries to lie. And he's like, to wish me well before I went home. And Lucilla's just like, you're lying. Do you want to know how I know you're lying? You've never been good at it.
Yeah.
Just straight up, like you're trash. You don't even have a towel. You're just bad.
You're just bad at it. Yeah.
Well, apparently he has just had the life of a simple soldier, and then she's like, "Or am I heartless?" And Maximus says that you have a talent for survival, and she just laughs and walks away, and is like, "Oh, is it really that terrible to see me?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, don't go down this route.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Apparently, Maximus is just tired, reveals that Commodus expects to, or their father, Lucilla, reveals this, that, Caesar will announce Commodus as the next successor very soon in the next coming days.
Yeah.
And I just write in my notes, nope, he's going to be dead the next time we see or hear of him.
Yeah. No, you're on the trail. I mean, this is a Shakespeare level Greek tragic where you start seeing these threads start weaving, right? The threads between the conversation with Marcus, with Maximus, and now what is it, Lucilla?
Lucilla.
Yeah. You start seeing the little threads start. The plot thickens, as it were, right? You can feel the tension. Yeah.
You can feel the tension rising. You got to get to the whatever the part in the hero's journey is where you get kicked into the unknown. You got to get to that. We're not quite at the unknown yet.
Right. Correct.
Which is where the majority of the hero's journey exists.
Right. For sure.
So, he then says that, Maximus will always serve Rome, not necessarily her brother, which I think is very interesting. Lucilla still remembers him in his prayers. We get the reveal that Lucilla's husband is dead. She has a son, Lucius, who is 8 years old. Maximus also has a son. Maximus thanks her for the prayers and heads out.
Yeah. So right. So obviously, I mean, you got it. They have some. Again, this is another one of those things I have hard trouble reconciling, though, because he's never been to Rome, right? But they have a relationship. They've had a relationship at some level, and we.
How does he know her?
Last time we talked about how Commodus and Maximus grew up together, or from a very young age they knew each other, and then obviously his sister. And it's like, how is that even possible? It doesn't. I still haven't been able to reconcile.
But you've never been to Rome.
Again, unless I don't know. I have a hard time with that.
I'm so confused.
For sure.
Why has he never been to Rome?
Okay, so did you think, though, because I thought this, I'm like, was it a platonic, hey, we're all growing up together relationship? Or was there I got some romance vibes, like,
oh no,
you were never good at lying, and you're good at surviving. Like, kind of that throwing knives at each other at the exes, right? I'm sure we've all had that moment where it's like, let me throw a few jabs in here at you when I see you again.
Yeah. I wouldn't know, but sure, I'll take your word for it.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, because any exes that I have, just been cordial.
Okay. That's okay. I wasn't sure where you're going.
Because it was college, and so we were still and it was a small enough college where we still had to see each other.
Right. So you kept it
the same clubs.
There you go.
And so we kept it cordial.
Friendly. Yeah.
We kept it friendly.
Yeah.
Jabs were thrown behind closed doors, probably.
Yeah.
And by closed doors, I mean we weren't there, and jabs were thrown to other people, and they just got to hear about it. But
out in public.
Out in public, fairly cordial.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just funny because Maximus is kind of at the top of his game, but he's ready to disappear. He's like, I'm going home, right? But he just finished the thing that the emperor wanted.
Yeah.
And Lucilla just got the news from her dad that, hey, I wish you'd been more than a dude. We could have made you emperor, but sorry. We don't roll that way. And so it's this kind of, layers of complexity, layers of pain.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. There was definitely some type of romantic situation in my read of it.
Okay.
Which still makes less sense of why he's never been to Rome.
Yeah, I think, again, problematic at a minimum of how do you reconcile that, for sure.
I'm intrigued.
Yep.
And if this doesn't get answered, I'm going to be pissed at the end of the 3 hours. So...
Yeah. Guess we'll have to find out.
I don't know. 1 second. Yentama. What do you want? Okay. Bye. Close the door.
I'll be next. If my son wanders in here, I tried to.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
You're completely fine. Power of editing. Yay.
Yay.
So Maximus, is now praying to the ancestors, asking for guidance. This part confused the bejesus out of me because I was just like, okay, why does it look like he's praying to Jesus? He should be praying to the Roman gods.
Oh.
What's going on?
Are you talking about the figures?
Yes, and then he kisses a figurine, and he wants to live with dignity.
Bless you.
And he wants to live with dignity like the ancestors talked about. What? Huh?
So if that wasn't Jesus and he's kissing the figure, I mean, what's your next natural conclusion?
Well, it feels wrong that it's Zeus. I'm sorry. We're in.
Zeus was kissing everybody though, man. And Zeus that's Greek, but dude, I understand
that's Greek.
your point.
I'm sorry. It wasn't Jupiter.
Right.
Pretty much same God, ladies and gentlemen. If you've never understood that.
The parents.
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure it wasn't Jupiter. Don't think it was Mars. That doesn't seem like the right God to pray to at this moment in time.
I don't. So no, I think he was praying to the gods, but I think the figures, so I don't think it spoils anything. To me, I kind of got it right away. That was his wife and son. Those were avatars for his wife and son.
Oh.
Now, maybe that's because I've been married for 9 million years, right? And have been yelled at enough.
It makes sense now that you said it. I just
in the moment
clear. I was like, what is happening? Like, why are you kissing a figurine for Roman gods who
Right.
usually like you prayed to at temples or just wherever.
Yes.
It wasn't like you needed the figurines to be able to pray to them.
No, you make a good point, because typically I think of like maybe more Asian cultures where you have a little shrine and a place where you might engage in your prayers. Middle Eastern, Asia Pacific, all that. Whereas these guys in the Western are much more, hey, I go to the temple, I do the thing, right? So yeah, it is a little bit off. It's a little bit strange from what I think I typically expect in that culture versus a different culture. And yet he has this kind of sacred space that he's set up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It confused me.
Yeah.
But all right, cool. It's his wife. Lovely. So Maximus,
and his son.
Yeah, and his son. Maximus calls for Cicero.
Yep.
Cicero.
Which is Cicero a Roman name? Maybe it is.
I think so.
Okay.
It sounds very Roman.
Yeah. Well, there's a little blending of Greek and Roman in this movie that happens.
I mean,
Cicero
was a Roman statesman, lawyer, and scholar and philosopher.
That's not this Cicero, but yes. Okay.
Right. But like when I type in Cicero, that's the first thing.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Good enough.
So I'm going to go with Roman.
Yes.
Seems like a safe bet.
Do you know who that is? Did you recognize the actor?
No. Should I have?
Yeah. So here's the killer with this. He's so young looking. But did you notice the scars on his face?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what's known as, and I won't mispronounce it, but essentially a Glasgow smile. It comes from the streets of Glasgow, gangs, whenever you get cut, right? Dude, it's Tommy Flanagan. So did you ever see Sons of Anarchy? He was in Sons of Anarchy. Oh, okay. So he's gone on to a much more prominent career in different spaces. He's always a character actor. He's not typically the lead actor, but that's his name, Tommy Flanagan. But he's distinct because he has those scars. And my understanding is it was actually when he was young, he got into, he's a Scottish actor. And in Glasgow, if you get in a fight, sometimes the opposing guy is going to give you what's called it's a Glaswegian, or I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, Glasgow smile, and they cut you on your cheeks. Is the story. That's the story he tells. I don't know. But that's Tommy Flanagan. Yeah.
I have seen him in a couple of things here.
Right. He was in Braveheart as well. And you guys, you covered Braveheart, right?
I covered Braveheart. I think he's also in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I don't know who he is. I'm just looking at his discography like real quick.
Yes.
Of what you're seeing. So he's also in like that. He's in things like The Ballad of Lefty Brown.
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead. He's been in a ton of stuff.
Yeah. He's been in a lot.
But he's typically not the main character, right? He's always a character actor. But it does say that he was outside a club that he'd been DJing at, and he got attacked. And
I guess they didn't like his set.
They were not down with what he was spinning that night. Don't mean to make light of it, but
yeah. Tommy, you're fine. You've made
Tommy's
a successful
amazing
career. Like
yes.
You're good. Not to make light of like knife crimes or anything, but also
but it's where our minds go.
Right, but also like Tommy, I'm sorry. Maybe DJing just wasn't for you. Acting though.
Acting, for sure.
There we go.
Most definitely.
DJ is the hobby.
Anyway, but it's one of those. This is one of those movies with so many people that you've got guys way early in their career, and he's one of them. Who is this guy? And I feel like he brought a presence to the screen, a charisma, but he had a very small role, in the movie itself.
We see him do. I like him.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
In what we see him do, I like him. I'm curious to see if he comes back. Mm-hmm. I doubt it.
It's not a huge role.
Yeah. I feel like he would come back and he's just like the servant of somebody else now.
Right.
And so like that's what we see him as, is like he's just the servant of somebody else. He's kind of in the background or something.
Yeah.
Is what I feel like is going to happen. Now, Maximus asks Cicero if it's hard for him to do his duty, and he hits him with a beautiful line. Sometimes I do what I want to do. Rest of the time, I do what I have to do. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a beautiful line.
I think that's true whether you're officially a servant or not. And that's true for a lot of us.
Oh, yeah. It really is. It very much is. So Maximus tells him that they might not be able to go home after all. Caesar is now praying. Not gonna lie, surprised he's not dead. And I was like, oh, okay. So he's not dead yet.
I'm not dead yet.
He's not dead yet. Again, he has to die. He's gonna die. I know that he's gonna die. He's not.
Gotta go. Yet. Gotta move the story forward.
Gotta move the story forward. The story can't move forward without death. And I was like, oh. And then there's like a figure that's walking in, and I'm like, okay, is Maximus gonna accept it? And then, before it is officially announced or anything, death happens. Commodus enters his father's chambers, and then Caesar hides from his own fun. And Commodus goes to a bust and touches it. And then Caesar comes out and asks if he is ready to do his duty for Rome. And instead of me focusing on anything of importance in that sentence, I asked the question, is this Joaquin Phoenix when he's much younger?
The answer is yes. The thing I like about you is you and I have kind of a similar mind. And I don't know, I have a part of me, I have ADHD. And so it's just like my mind's like, yeah, that's all interesting, all that stuff going on there. But what about this?
It's just like, look, I should probably be, thinking about like, what is his duty?
Wow, what's going on? Yeah, this is intense.
Like, ooh, this is about to be no. Joaquin?
Is that you, bro?
It's like, oh, this was early your career as
well.
Yeah,
early for him.
It might have been like his first big big role. I don't know. I don't know his career very well to be able to lay any claim to anything.
Yeah. But it's early. I mean, it's early. I've got notes here somewhere on him, but to suffice it to say, it's definitely. I think he had some other stuff. Obviously, his brother's River Phoenix. So River, yes. So that's an intense thing. River passed away early on. He was young, and River played. Did you do any of the Indiana Jones movies?
I have seen them.
Are you going to cover them?
I covered them as bonus episodes for my Patreon because I used them as tester episodes of how was this show going to actually like structure and things like that. And so I did them with one of my closest friends, Brad, and we just tested them. It was just audio, and it was just like figuring out. But because I had seen the first one, I was like, I'm not going to do the rest of the series. And so then I just did the rest of the series with him. But if anyone's curious, shameless plug, go check out the Patreon. They're up there.
Love it. No, I only mentioned that because I didn't want to, wanted to follow the plan.
Okay.
But, so you've done Last Crusade then? You did Last Crusade.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
so the young Indiana, where they kind of, as opposed to doing 3 whole films like Star Wars did to give us origin story, they do like 10 minutes. And the young Indiana Jones is River Phoenix. That's who plays the young Indiana Jones in Last Crusade. So that's Joaquin's brother who passed away pretty young. So pretty intense, but yeah. Anyway, but I digress.
It is Joaquin Phoenix. Back to the drama. Now, Caesar tells him officially that he will not be emperor. Commodus is hurt, asks who the wiser older man is that is taking his place. And I was like, he about to be disappointed. Yeah, Caesar tells him the truth that it's supposed to be Maximus. Not gonna lie, didn't see that one coming either. And he says that power is going to be with Maximus until the Senate is ready to rule once more. And then this is where I was like, oh, I see what's about to happen. Commodus is about to get so mad that he kills his own father and lies about it and says that Max killed him. I feel like that's what's going to happen. He's going to try to blame it on Max. He's going to become the new emperor. And because he's the new emperor, everyone's going to listen to him. And that's how Max ends up having to be a gladiator.
You're tracking.
Something along those lines.
Now,
Caesar tries to reach out to his son, but he recoils. Commodus is disappointed. We learn that once Caesar wrote him a letter, and it had the 4 chief virtues: wisdom, justice, fortitude, and temperance. As Commodus read the list, he knew that he had none of them, but he claims to have other virtues, like ambition, which can be the virtue when it drives people to excel. He has resourcefulness, courage, not on the battlefield, but there are many forms of courage. Devotion to family, to you, as he says this to Caesar. And I was like, well, that devotion about to be thrown out a window when you murder your papa. Now, meanwhile, he's just like, none of my virtues were on your list. Even if it was, you didn't want me as your son. Caesar sits and tells him that he goes too far. And Commodus, just is on a roll here. And he's just like, I have searched the faces of the god, how to please you, how to make you proud. One kind word, a full hug would have been the sun in my heart for 1,000 years. All I ever wanted to do was live up to you. Right? Caesar kneels and tells him that it's his fault as a son. That his faults as a son are Caesar's faults as a father. Caesar reaches out, gives him a hug. Commodus hugs him back. They have an emotional moment. Commodus tells him that he would have butchered the whole world if only he had loved him. And then he hugs him harder. The music swells. Caesar starts grabbing his arms in the hug, like, kind of clapping Commodus's back and struggling a bit. And, I'm just like, is he strangling Caesar? And we cut away.
Yeah.
Beautiful scene from the 2 actors. Incredible scene.
Absolutely amazing.
Such a good scene.
Yeah. The, man, layers. I mean, we could spend a whole episode on that scene because it's so intense. Relationship of fathers and sons. Even myself, I love my dad. My dad's passed away, but there's this whole dynamic. And I don't know, maybe you have a great relationship with your father, but my dad got a divorce when I was 2, and he went. This is 1972. Went to court, fought for me, got married again, fought for me. That was that second one was wild, and then married again when I was 6. So I've got a deep relation with my dad, but not always deep in terms of knowing him. At a deeper level, because that never really happened, I don't think. I knew some things, and we talked about some things, but not as much as I would have liked to. But there's deep, for I think most of us either have a father wound or a mother wound, right? One of those. And for Commodus, obviously, it's a father wound here, right? Just this really, and then he goes to these really intense places with it rather than reconciliations. It's like, how about patricide? Let's go with that. That'll solve my problems. So but no, the 2 actors, amazing, brilliant, lots of layers, lots of things to draw out of it. And definitely the tension is, I mean, we've now hit that. All those threads came together in that moment, but we don't even see it. He cuts away. I'm like, okay, I guess that's it.
No, I was just like, well, this was, slightly anticlimactic.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, again, now I'm not Ridley Scott. I haven't made a bunch of successful films, so what do I know? But yeah, it was an interesting choice. But yeah, very intense moment.
I think the choice does work because of what needs to happen next.
And right.
What happens.
And I would agree with that. Yeah,
so
I would agree with that.
I think it does work, and it is the right choice. But just as the first time watching it, in that moment, I was like, I wish I had a little bit more. Yeah. After this next scene happens, I was like, choice was justified, right. Choice is valid.
But in that moment, you're like, but he's never been to Rome. No.
Never again. Well, I will keep coming back to this. He's never been to Rome, and it is pissing me off because there are so many things that shouldn't have happened.
Right. No,
he's never been to Rome.
Right. But no, you're right. Yeah. No, it is. What's weird is it's a dark scene, but back to that villain thing, it's probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie because it's so intense. It's just so powerful.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
And when people are like, "Oh, you need, action and whatnot," and I'm like, "No, you just need a well-written scene."
Yeah. Well, action is the intensity of the emotion is as powerful as an action scene, maybe more.
I'm like, you don't need movement. Like, you can have two actors who just sit there and have a conversation, and it can be possibly the most beautiful scene in the whole film.
You're talking about an actor way deep in his career and an actor fairly new to his career, and just that to me that shows Joaquin Phoenix's power as an actor. Just astounding.
One does that, and I almost guarantee you that Richard Harris probably helped him with that a bit.
I would be very interested about what their dialogue was.
Yeah, I would be very curious. It's like, hey, Joaquin, what did Richard tell you? Like, what did he tell you while you worked with him on this movie set? Like, did he impart any wisdom? Because like he does generally play these, at least in what I know of Richard Harris's discography, is that he does play the kings. He does play the royalty. He plays the older, these men wiser with power.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, like, what wisdom did he impart on just how to play those types of roles even? Because, like, as much as Commodus is the villain, he is still a man of power.
Yes.
And, he is still...
He's in a role. He's in a position. He didn't necessarily choose it. He just, by happenstance, he's born to the emperor, right?
Yeah, he's born into power, and it's, I guess his birthright per se. So, yeah. Meanwhile, a guard comes in. He tells Maximus that the emperor needs him. Oh, look, the emperor's Commodus. And I was like, oh, no. And he just goes, lament with me, brother. Our great father is dead. Maximus asked how he died. Surgeons say that there was no pain. Breath faded out as he slept. Lies.
Right.
Breath faded out. He was not asleep. Now, Lucilla, hiding behind a corner, like around the door. Why is she hiding? Why? What?
So to me, it's what Maximus tells her earlier. You're good at survival. She's sussing out the situation. She's like, what do I do here? Where do I side? Is this a point where Maximus can just, take out my brother? But he's the emperor, right? So that'd be a real big no-no in that space, right? Like Maximus immediately exacted revenge because the emperor told him he was very popular. Could he have pulled that off? Could he have taken out Commodus and said, hey, the emperor told me I was in charge. Commodus came at me. I took him out. Probably not. I mean, that's just the hierarchy there. But I think she's feeling out the situation. I think she's trying to decide, who am I going to support? What angle am I taking on this? Because she is a survivor and she knows she doesn't have the power. So she's like, I got to decide who I'm siding with here. And she's giving it time. She's letting it play out.
No, that's fair enough. Okay. Yeah.
That's my opinion.
That's a very valid read on the situation. Because I was just like, okay, why would she be hiding? And like, especially like if she knows that her father's dead, because she's there, she's in the space.
Right.
Like, why would she be hiding when Maximus comes in?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Was she there the whole time?
Like that was the read that I had, was that like she was there and then hid.
Well, I didn't even think of that.
Arrived, and it's like, why would you hide from mourning your father's death? But then, like, maybe she hid because she does know that truth.
Yeah.
And so maybe she hid because of that truth.
That's why I love your fresh perspective. Yeah, it's good. I'd never thought that. Yeah.
But it's like, because I thought that she was there the whole time.
See, I always assumed she wandered in.
It looked like it was the king's chambers or the emperor's chambers.
Yeah, but you saw the setup on those things. There was ways to get. These are tents, right? So you could come in and slipstream yourself in.
There are ways to get in and out, but like I would also be very surprised that, like, if she comes in, learns her father is dead,
and then doesn't stay there to mourn,
and then doesn't mourn at all.
Oh, just yeah.
We don't see her mourn after this entire scene happens. She doesn't mourn a single time. Which makes me think that she is probably mourned before this. And also, Commodus and Lucilla seem close enough to where Commodus would go get his sister.
Right. Yeah, no, that's good. I had never seen it from that perspective. I love that. Because I had always thought Maximus is coming for whatever reason. She's wandering. She has trouble sleeping, and she slipped in, and then she sees this interaction between Commodus and Maximus. But was she there even while Commodus took out the emperor?
I don't think she was there when he took him out, but was she there? Was she there before
Maximus showed up?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. Listeners,
Yeah.
let us know what you think. Which one makes more sense to you?
Mm.
There is no right or wrong answer.
Right, for sure.
So Maximus inspects the body, and I was like, "Ooh, does he realize strangling marks? Is he gonna know? Is he gonna know what happened? Is he gonna do it? Is he gonna exact revenge? Let's go." Commodus asks for Maximus's loyalty. Maximus takes his hand. Well, no, Maximus is told to take his hand. It's only offered once, and the sister hears this, is surprised as well by this. Maybe she didn't expect Commodus to just say it's only once, right?
Mm.
Maximus walks away and calls for Quintes to follow. Commodus, being rejected, sees his sister, who steps out. He is obviously quite hurt. She walks out, slaps him twice, and then takes his hand and kisses it and says, "Hail Caesar." So she's decided to side with Commodus.
Yes. So there's a lot going on there. I've got to imagine that Maximus, in his career of 12 years or whatever long he was involved with that, has choked somebody out, right? And maybe even killed somebody. So there's a thing, and I only know this, as far as I understand, it's correct from CSI, right? But when you deprive somebody of air, you'll actually get what's, I think it's called petechial hemorrhaging, and your eye, it'll show up in the eyes, right? And so I'm assuming if, because you can't kind of see him looking at him. I don't remember if he really touches them, but I would imagine as a warrior, he would probably know signs of somebody being strangled versus somebody just passing.
And that's what I thought as well. I was like, okay, like he probably knows.
Yeah.
But he can't say anything right now.
No, yeah.
Right? He understands the situation, which we learn immediately.
Yeah.
Because Maximus says that he must speak with the senators, needs their counsels, tells Quintes to wake up Gaius, and Falco asks, what was the servant's name again?
Cicero.
Asks Cicero to go get a sword. Quintes says that the emperor has died of natural causes. And this is where Maximus just goes, "The emperor was slain." And I was like, he did notice. He probably already suspects Commodus as well.
Yeah.
He is pretty sure that it was him.
You talk about action. There's so much that happens right here. Boom, 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 boom. Right. So Lucilla, right, the slap. She's like, I got to get this out of my system. And now, hail Caesar, right? It's like, I'm going to smack you because you did a crappy thing. And then, but now she's picked her side. And then this whole thing, you can see the wheels spinning. He's like, get my sword. Going to need that. And I need you to wake these guys up. And the whole thing, oh, he's passed. No, he was slain. It is like, right? Imagine you're in that moment. It's like everything is about to go, has now gone to hell, right?
Yeah. Now Maximus realizes that Quintes is armed, and Quintes calls for the guards. They come in and arrest Maximus. Quintes tells him that Caesar has spoken. Take him and ride until dawn. Execute him.
He's betrayed. Quintes was his guy at the beginning. Remember at the beginning of the movie, that's his guy. His right-hand dude.
That's his guy.
Yeah.
He's betrayed. And I was like, Quintes?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I thought some other words, but sure.
I thought the words. I just try not to swear on this show.
Yeah, gotcha.
No, wait, this is the show that I do swear on. I can't not swear. It's just less bleeping if I don't swear. Yeah. Cicero, unsheaths the sword a little bit behind, whatever tapestry fabric there is. But Maximus nods at him and tells him not to do anything stupid. He's like,
not the time.
Not the time. Maximus then asks Quintes to promise him that he will look after his family. And then Quintes just hits him with, "Your family shall meet you in the afterlife."
Yeah, dude.
Quintes!
Yeah, dude, for real.
You were his friend. Kill Maximus, fine, sure, whatever.
Right.
The family?
Yeah.
Who's done nothing?
Right. That's dirty. It's that song, Cyndi Lauper, "I see your true colors shining through."
Yeah.
It's like, wow, Quintes. So that didn't take long for you to show who, you're completely opportunistic, right?
Yep.
Okay, well, screw this dude I've been serving with for 12 years.
Yeah.
Answer his family while we're at it. We're just gonna throw that extra little jab. So maybe some resentment from Quintes.
Let's go
something.
kill an 8-year-old. Apparently,
Yeah,
is what
yeah,
Quintes is
yeah,
thinking.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah, not a good thought. Not a good thought.
Mm-mm.
It's when I say phrases like that, I realize if anyone ever clips any of this and takes it out of context, we're going to be in a lot of deep trouble.
Context is king, man. Context is king.
Please don't do that, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
that'd be
I
uncool.
would like to have a career.
Yeah. Don't be a Quintes.
Don't be a Quintes. And on that note, we're going to take a quick intermission on just don't be a Quintes, and we'll be right back. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for listening to this episode of Post Finale. I hope you are all enjoying this episode, and if you want to gain access to more bonus content, like access to my notes and access to some of the tier lists that I make and help suggest films and things like that, all of that can be done over at our Patreon, and that can be found at patreon.com/coopforge. So that's patreon.com/co_OPFORGE. Signing up for any of the tiers gets you different types of bonus content depending on the tier that you sign up for, and a shout out here on the show for every patron that signs up. It really means the world to us, and it helps us grow this show and helps us be able to put the money back into this show to make it a better experience for you, the listeners. That is our entire goal here at Co-op Forge. So thank you all so much if you are considering doing this. Now, if you want to help the show in a non-monetary way, that is fantastic as well. You can do so by just talking about us and sharing it with a friend. Just reach out to a friend and be like, hey, you love movies, or hey, you need an excuse to watch more movies. Check out this show called Post Finale. The host is silly, he's an actor, he's confused most of the time, gets a lot of guesses wrong, but overall it's a lovely time and some interesting discussions about some iconic films. I think you'll really enjoy it. It really does help. And be sure to talk about us on social media and follow us on social media. That really helps out a lot as well. If you're looking for the show, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Post Finale Pod. And then you can also find us at Co-op Forge on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And that's at Co-op Forge at CO_OPFORGE. And we post content not just from Post Finale, but from the other shows here on Co-op Forge as well. So that includes Flip the Scripts, and that includes Seattle Across the Pond. So be sure follow both of those channels. Again, it's at Post Finale Pod and at Co-op Forge, CO_OPFORGE. But just thank you so much for listening to this episode. Wherever you are, if you're enjoying the episode, if you're listening on YouTube, please please hit subscribe. It really does help us out. If you're listening on a podcast app, that's great as well. It doesn't matter to us where you're listening. We're just so thankful that you're listening. But if you're listening on a podcast app, please leave a rating. It really does help us out. Please leave a review and hit that follow button. You can also turn on notifications both on YouTube and on the podcast apps just to be notified when new episodes come out. It really does mean a lot that you are all listening to these episodes, and thank you all so much. So let's get back to the episode without further ado.
Sure.
So we're back. The guards are walking, and they come to a halt, and Maximus is told to kneel. Maximus asks for a clean death, a soldier's death. The guard walks up behind him. When he raises his sword, Maximus headbutts him, steals the sword, kills the guard. The frost, sometimes it makes the blade stick, and one of the guards can't get his sword out of the little sheath, and Maximus kills him too by chopping off his arm. Beautiful, fantastic, lovely. Maximus then hides, kills a third guard, and then he calls out to a Praetorian. Yeah. Who charges, and hey, look, he's dead.
Yeah, dude. Maximus lays a smackdown.
Yeah. My favorite thing about this whole smackdown sequence is this last guy who stays on the horse a little bit. The horse turns around, and I'm like, I like how you tried to fake us out that he didn't die, and then he just falls off the horse.
And there's that pause. Yeah. So good. I mean, Maximus, look, to me, and I think, and I could be wrong, but I think Quintes got a promotion, so they all became Praetorian, which was, if you ever saw Star Wars, did you see Star Wars?
Yeah.
The dudes in red around the Emperor, they're his guards, right? So that's the Praetorian, right? They got a little bit purple sash. They're the guards of the Emperor, but it's like, and no, look, I've been in the military. I know a lot of people in the military, and I know people even on special duty. It's not this, but there's a thing where you're out of practice, and the Praetorian are probably spend a lot of time at the very beginning of the movie. They're standing around Marcus Aurelius, kind of like meat shields, right?
Yeah.
And they're not fighting. They haven't been fighting for years because they got that, probably their size and everything. They became Praetorians. So they're a little bit rusty on the actual getting stuff done in battle. And Maximus just owns them. I mean, he just totally wrecks them, right? So, keep your skills up, I guess, is the message there. They did not. Yeah.
Keep practicing or you'll end up dead.
Yeah.
So Maximus, is just, riding along. He now has 2 horses. He's on one horse. He's bringing another along. I'm very confused on why he's bringing another along, but sure, why not? And my thought was for his servant. Spoiler alert, no, not for his servant. So Maximus is riding for what seems like a very long time, and I'm assuming this ride happens over days. One of these nights, he has set up camp. Yep. He's thinking about his last conversation with Caesar, who I will call as Caesar. Commodus is not Caesar. Commodus is Commodus.
There you go.
Caesar is Caesar.
There you go.
That's just how I'm differentiating, because later, and I guarantee you, people are gonna say Caesar has said this, and I might use Caesar in that context if I'm talking about another character saying what someone has said.
Yeah.
But if I'm talking about the characters, it's just for people to understand. I'm gonna call him Commodus.
There you go.
Now, he's thinking about that conversation about home and his prayers to the gods. The scenery is beautiful.
Gorgeous.
I wonder if they actually were on location in that moment, or if that is a backdrop. If it is a backdrop, it's a beautiful backdrop.
I felt like it was on location.
It felt like it was on location. It felt like it would have been on location. It didn't feel like a backdrop, but I don't know. It was beautiful. Maximus is still riding. He seems to have switched horses. He's now on the brown horse. Not sure what happened to the white one.
Yeah. I think there's your 2 horses. He had a long way to go. And and what was his desire was wherever he was going, he wanted to get there. And so one horse drops out. I grab the other horse, It's like a car and a backup car, I guess, if you will.
Yeah. So Maximus, on the other hand, doesn't look good.
No.
We cut to a village, a farm, and I was like, oh, this must be Maximus's home. Lovely. Mm-hmm. We see his son, see the horses of the royals, and he thinks that it is Papa.
Yeah.
The mother realizes that it is not Papa. Mm-hmm. Maximus, also known as Papa, has a sixth sense, and the man's dying on a horse, but suddenly has energy once again and is riding like the wind.
Yeah.
Seems like an effective sixth sense.
Yep, for sure.
Caffeine shot.
Yeah.
Adrenaline, that's what it's called. Adrenaline shot.
Yes. Yeah.
Meanwhile, his son trampled by horses.
Yeah. Pretty rough. Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, so his kid's dead. Wife's probably going to be dead. Does he go out to get revenge against Commodus? Is this what happens? We shall see. Right. Maximus gets to his home, but the horse jerks and he falls off. Now, the fields are burned, and Maximus starts walking through the property, and it seems like there are dead corpses in the fields, even.
Yeah.
And he has no, thought about those, but then when he gets to a structure, he falls on his knees. And there we see the feet of his dangling wife and son who have been murdered. Burned feet. They are blackened feet, they have been charred, and also they're shriveled to where it looks like they have been left there for days. This happened days ago.
Yeah.
It was not recent.
Correct. Yeah, I think absolutely. So I think so. The 2 horses, right? So he's desperate to get there. He has that sixth sense, which I think I've had that before, where you're like, something's not right, right? And you make a call, you do something, you take an action, because you just get that sense like something's off. So there's a whole level of stuff there. But he gets there, and it's obviously too late. I thought what was interesting is Ridley made that choice, I assume, or the script writers and him and whoever wrote, that there was no like, sometimes in a movie it's like they're going to go take out the family, but there's like this dialogue. There was like no dialogue. It was like, hey, Papa, bam, kid gets knocked over by the horse, and you're like, oh, that's it, we're done. I mean, there's obviously intent to take his family gone, going to eradicate.
Oh, I appreciate it. I mean, like, the intent is all there. It's they find out that Maximus has escaped.
Yeah.
So then Commodus gives the order, go murder anyone on his property.
Yeah, just take them all
Leave
out.
him a message.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we don't need more conversation. I think that's the beauty of it.
It's that, yes.
What I love about Ridley Scott films is that he does something that a lot of people are losing out on, and it's why is he directing Gladiator 2?
I think so. And what do you mean by that? Go ahead. I think I know what you mean, but please.
Yeah, but what I mean is that he treats his audience like they're intelligent, that they're able to piece things together.
Jeez Louise.
Right? He's just hey, they're able to piece together that, oh yeah, Maximus broke free. Punishment has probably come down from the Caesar to say, go murder his family.
I can't tell, dude. I think it's getting worse. I can't tell you how many movies I watch now where they do this whole exposition. I'm like, guys, I'm not a moron. I could have figured that out. A, B, you're defying the purpose of film, which is it's film. I'm not reading a book. I should be able to watch it and know what's going. I told my kids, I go, my best films, I believe I should be able to watch with the sound off and know what's going on. Yeah, because it's going to tell me a visual story and then done. But yeah, he is directing. Wow, he's 86. Amazing. He is directing Gladiator 2.
Okay, then I'll
directed and co-produced by. Yeah.
I'll go give it a shot. That's the main reason that we're doing Gladiator, ladies and gentlemen, is that I saw that there was a sequel coming out, and I was like, well, maybe I should watch the original.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Okay, good. Then I have hope.
Me too. So it's interesting you say this because I hadn't watched the preview yet, right, for Gladiator 2. I know
very nothing.
That's fine. And I'm not going to say anything about it other than this, is I watched the trailer. I won't spoil. I watched the trailer and I went, because the trailer, it just, okay. Having known the first movie and loved it, and we're talking about it, but, again, sometimes I get surprised. Sometimes people don't throw the entire movie and their best stuff in a trailer, unlike some films where you're like, well, I just saw the movie and the best parts, so why do I need to go see it now? So I'm hoping it's that kind of thing where they cut it purposely for me to be a little bit like, is this going to be?
I don't know. And then you go watch the actual film and you're like, oh, they were just trying to throw us a MacGuffin to where we really
throw us off the trail.
They needed us to not know about whatever big plot twist is about to happen.
I'm hoping, and I love Pedro Pascal, who's in it. Yeah. So I'll just say that and leave it at that. But the preview definitely made me go, oh, please don't be one of those.
Yeah. Movies. I really want to go watch that Fox film that Pedro Pascal just did.
Which one is that?
I don't know. He's playing a fox. It's an animated fox.
What was that? Fantastic Mr. Fox that Wes Anderson did. George Clooney.
Yeah. Wild Robot.
Wild Robot. Oh, I heard that's really good.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good.
Yeah, okay. I was unaware that he did anything. Okay.
He voices the fox.
Very cool.
Okay. This is the context I have about that film.
Well, no, now I'm much more. I heard it was really good, but I still like. But now that I know that, I'm a huge Pedro Pascal fan.
Fair. Yeah. But no, he treats us like we are intellectuals and that we are able to piece things together.
Figure it out. We can figure it out.
We can understand things. Or like sometimes you don't need to have an answer, like us with why is Lucilla hiding? We don't have an answer.
And we may not.
Different perspectives and we might not be given the answer. We don't need to know the answer.
I do. I know. Now that you say that, like even The Martian, which he did, I appreciate when a director respects his audience enough to go, I'm not here to spell it out for you.
I don't need to spoon feed you.
Thank you. And in fact, I get resentful because I feel like I said, it's happening more and more in movies where I'll be third of the movie in, half of it invested, and then they do something like that where I'm like, now honestly, I emotionally disconnect. I'm like, you know what? Whatever, man. I don't care. anymore
No, not interested.
because you treated me like I'm a child. I'm not, and I'm not a genius either. But I can figure things out, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that is an excellent. Yeah, I love Ridley for that. Very
So,
cool.
Maximus gives his family a funeral. Whoop-de-doo. He sleeps next to their graves. Someone finds him sleeping there. He's grabbed. We then get a transition that he's being wheeled somewhere or carried somewhere on a stretcher. And Maximus is told not to touch his wounds. They will clean it. Wait and see. He also has a vision that he will see his family again, but today is not the day to go see his family again.
Yeah.
We seem to be headed into a desert.
Something like that, yeah. Is this where they do the weird camera thing from like his POV, where he's like laying on the thing?
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
this is the fun POV shot where we
Yeah,
see
yeah.
his new friend, who's just one of the people carrying him, and he's just
Yep.
like, "Don't die. They'll feed you to the lions. They're more valuable than we are."
It gives him this very inspiring message. Your family's. Hey, don't die, dude. Seriously, you don't want to do that.
Yeah. You don't want to do that. You're gonna be fed to a lion. Now we reach Zukabar.
Yeah, somewhere.
Great, that's what I'm gonna call it, Zukabar.
Almost imagined, like it's like this homogenous thing of what you would imagine some town on the outskirts to be. Is that what I got?
It's a not specific Roman province.
I didn't get a strong sense of place. I got it's. Hey, this is all of them. They were like this. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's not important. It's really not that important. It is what it is.
It just felt like a small town that you would run into. We meet Proximo. Today, apparently, is Proximo's most fortunate day. Meanwhile, Proximo, mad at our little barter friend over here, because the giraffes that he was sold are not mating, and he accuses the barter friend that he sold him queer giraffes.
I don't know if you can pull that line off today, but I cracked. I mean, and again, I think we had a talk. I'm very much life is a spectrum. Everybody's on a spectrum of things. I love everybody, but that line just killed me, slayed me, because it's kind of he's kind of like
really funny line.
Funny line, yes, yeah. And he actually he emphasizes his point. Were you going to get to that? How he emphasizes his point with the barter
guy? Which part?
He grabs him in the sack and he twists while he's complaining about the giraffes. He's like, dude, I'm not joking here, man. Like you may think, oh, well, but no, he's like, no, you messed me up, man. And you're going to have to make it right.
You're going to have to make this right.
Yeah.
By making it right, he wants his money back. And then the barter friend is like, wait, I have a special price. Invites Proximo to come see his new stock. And then I go, oh, he's not a friend. He's a trader of humans.
Yeah.
He's a slave trader.
Yep. Yeah. And he's got a prize.
He does. He doesn't know it yet, but he does. He doesn't know it yet. Tells Proximo that some are good for fighting, some are good for dying. Proximo has a fight coming up, apparently. Don't really understand the context, but he needs people to fight in a fight. Okay. They are, and then I was like, oh, he's going to get Maximus here, and Proximo's going to help Maximus get revenge on Caesar, but Maximus is going to have to fight as a gladiator to get close to him.
He's
going to have to fight his way up the battle ranks to be able to get close to Caesar to then get his revenge. Proximo's going to learn about this, and I feel like Proximo's going to be like one of the better characters in terms of like helping him.
Yeah.
And like, it's like, look, I can give you a roof, I can give you this, but like you gotta fight for me.
Yeah. You gotta it's gotta be a win-win, so to speak.
Yeah. Like I need something from you, I'm willing to help you, but like, you gotta go still fight in the arenas and win these battles. If we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I feel like Proximo's coming into the mix, and how Proximo, because we've lost one old man. We need a new old man.
Right.
We need a new one.
We need a new guide on the path.
Yeah. Proximo's another one of those characters where I don't know yet, because I want to see where his character kind of gets fleshed out a bit until this is what I think is going to happen. But from what I've seen so far, if I fit the age bracket, I feel like he would also be a very fun character to play.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. No, so this is just 30 seconds and a couple of things, if you don't mind. So one, it's Oliver Reed, and Oliver Reed is amazing. He's absolutely amazing. He has another one of those guys that has a massive presence. So when I mentioned Richard Harris last week, it's funny. I mentioned a book that I ordered and started reading called Hellraisers, and it's Richard Harris. And again, not the book, whatever. I don't have any affiliation, but I opened the book and it says, "I want to thank Michael Anderson for." I'm like, that's not me, dude. I don't know. I was like, no, I don't know who you are. It's some English comedian guy that wrote the book, but Oliver Reed was up there. He was one of those guys that larger than life, up on the screen, and then just drank a copious amount of alcohol in bars. And so so in his life, he lived out this really intense life. But that's who the actor is. But yeah, Proximo's a great, not as clearly righteous as the Emperor character, right? So,
but I mean, yeah, and especially, every character is flawed in this film, which I love. I love that there is no, humans are flawed.
Yes.
No matter what time in history, humans are flawed. Everybody has flaws.
Yeah.
And so what I do appreciate, though, is that Proximo seems like the guy that, he has his flaws, but also deep down, he's a generally good person.
So maybe you asked earlier, who would I play? And I named Maximus.
His friend.
I named Commodus, and I named his friend. But now that we're talking about it, man, Proximo would probably be it.
Proximo.
But for my age, he's probably a little bit older than me, but I feel like I love that character. He's amazing.
I looked it up, and Oliver Reed was 60 most likely when he
I'm 54.
filmed this.
Yeah.
Because he passed away before this film came out.
So you bring up so again, we'll go back to the film, but Oliver Reed, he was 60. They were filming. He was on a break from filming. I don't know. Maybe I'll leave that for your next guest to talk about what happened to him, unless you want to cover it now, because it's.
I don't know what happened to him.
He died during. He wasn't on set, so there was this myth that he was on set. That's garbage. He wasn't on set. He was on a break. The night before he was supposed to film one of these amazing scenes, he's in a pub, pounding them back, arm wrestling 18-year-old sailors, like Navy guys from some country, and he drops dead. Gone. Uh-oh. They're in the middle of filming this thing, and he's gone. So Ridley has to finish his stuff using a very new technology, the CGI. You mentioned earlier, were they on set with the great scenery, or was it some sort of computer generated or matte painting? I think they were on set, but they actually had to employ this brand new kind of approach using a body double, back of the head, and other technology that they had never done before because he checked out.
I'm curious to see if we can point out what those scenes are.
It'll be interesting to watch. Yeah.
We'll see. So anyway, the guy, Proximo finds one, and I think it's the friend that was carrying Maximus earlier.
Yes.
Yeah, it felt like the same guy, but I wasn't sure. He says that he was a hunter. The trader says that he bought him from a salt mine in Carthage. And Proximo walks over, sees Maximus sitting there with his eyes closed, sees the mark of the Legion, SPQR, and wonders if he's a deserter. Trader says, who cares? He's a Spaniard, because apparently that matters.
But
racism. Yeah.
Well, but that's the first time, though. Maybe we explain why Maximus you're never in Rome. He's a Spaniard. He's not.
No, still not a good enough reason, because he had a relationship with the now emperor and his sister.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, fair. All right.
And he was a general for at least 12 years.
But he's never been to Rome.
How has he not been to Rome?
And mind you, and despite his long horse ride, that is all what is currently Europe, right? So, I mean, how far is it really to go from Spain to Italy? I can't imagine I don't know. I've never Maybe.
It's not horrendous. I mean, like, let me look it up real quick.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll say Barcelona, because why
Why
not?
not? Yeah.
To Rome. We'll take a train journey, right?
First. Yeah, that's fair.
A train journey takes about 25 hours.
So not impossible.
Not impossible.
Yeah. I mean, he rode from Germania? What was that? Is that France, Germany, kind of?
Yeah,
Back to his home.
I think he was somewhere like France, Belgium, maybe up in that area.
Okay.
Is my guess.
And what's that distance to Barcelona?
So if we say Brussels, it's kind of like a midpoint.
Yeah.
To Barcelona on a train is, let's see, 12 hours?
Okay, so double that to get to Rome. I don't know.
But, like, also here's the thing, is that if, like, you're looking at a map, right, and you need to get into Italy, you don't have to go up into France. You can run across the south of France.
Yeah.
It doesn't take that long. Trains actually probably have to go in a convoluted route because they have to go up north, like up into Paris, and then like down.
And you could probably from Barcelona to Rome, you could take a boat. Boat travel was big then, right? They were moving people across water.
Well, I mean, Rome was never known for having a navy, but like, you know,
that's true. No, but I said you could get
boats existed.
You could land in a port town near, and then make the rest of your trip. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, 100%. I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, Proximo says that he will take 6 of them for 1,000. The trader is mad, and Proximo says that these slaves are rotten. And then I do enjoy the trader here. He's trying to be the salesman. He's like, it adds to the flavor.
His rotting shoulder adds to the flavor. Yummy.
Like, what?
He's always looking on the bright. Hey, look at the upside, man. Look at the upside of this.
I do appreciate the trader in this moment.
Yes.
Proximo starts to leave. Trader says that he'll negotiate. Proximo says, all right, I'll offer you 2,000 and 4,000 for the beast, 5,000 for an old friend. And I'm like, math.
yeah. Divide my pie, carry the one. Whatever. Yeah.
Maximus hears this and seems out of it, but intrigued or some sort. Like, he hears this and his head pokes up. Proximo heads to his home and he greets his slaves. He introduces himself, says that he will be close with them for the next few days, also known as the rest of your lives. He did not pay them for good company, but so that he could profit off of their death.
That's right.
And I was like, well, at least we have an honest, terrible person.
He's a straight shooter. He's going to be up front. Yeah.
Like, look, you are here. You will be fed. You will have your life. But understand, this is why I bought you.
Yeah. You'll have your life. It may not be long, but you'll
not be long.
We'll get you built up.
But you shall be fed.
Yep.
Because I need you to fight.
Yep. Yeah.
And then he says, just as your mother was there for your beginning, I shall be there for your end.
Yeah,
Maximus starts like slowly clocking what's actually being said, which I find really funny. Like halfway through, he's like, oh, wait, what? Whoa. Say what now?
Well, yeah. I like Maximus because he's obviously his body's attending to him healing.
Yeah.
But I like that you said he picked up on something early on, and I think that he's not a big dumb box of rocks, right? He's a general. So it's that almost, but I love the subtext is, and Ridley touches on this, the bird at the very beginning. He's present. He's aware. So when we're more present, we're more aware to the moment. We pick up on things maybe we wouldn't normally pick up when they're in a rush all the time. And he's been intentionally slowed down. He's picking up on things that you might not pick up on if you're in a hurry. Mm-hmm. But he's slowed down, and now he's tuning into things. So it's exactly. Cool to watch.
He's understanding what's going on. He's like, this is the situation. This is what's happening. Okay, he's processing.
Yes,
and I appreciate that he's not processing right from the get-go. Like it's taking him a little time. You know, he probably started clocking it when he goes like at your end, and he's like, my end. What is this old man talking about?
Yeah.
He just goes, and then Proximo continues, "As you die, and die you shall. Your transition shall be to the sound of," and then he starts clapping, and I'm like, "Aw, applause." And then he hits him with a beautiful line, "Gladiators, I salute you." Gives them a bow.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very interesting from Proximo. The man with the power, the man that owns these slaves,
right, is
bowing
genuflecting.
to them.
Yeah. Why?
You know.
Yeah.
It leaves us with an interesting question that we get to ponder for a week, because that's as far as I've seen, and that's the end of this episode. I'm very intrigued. Definitely. I feel like now, knowing the things that I know, it's gonna be Maximus doesn't die.
Yes.
Maximus wins.
Yeah. But there's a lot more film left. I mean, if he did die, it'd be kind of a short.
We're gonna need a new main character.
Right now. Hurry up. Let's go.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure he's not gonna die, because we still got 2 hours left of this film.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that being said, I think that he's not gonna die in the battle, and then Proximus is going to learn more about him, and then Proximus is going to be like, all right, you keep fighting, you keep winning, and I'll get you into bigger and bigger fights so we can get closer move up the chain, get closer to the Emperor.
You stop doing local wrestling matches in but nowhere Texas. We'll get you on the main stage, right? We'll get you out to the main stage.
Like you gotta string together a few victories in these locals, but then like I'll get you up into the districts. I'll get you up into things like that. Like, I'll help you climb greater the ranks visibility, so that you can get closer. Yeah. And I'll give you a safe place to stay.
Do you get that sense with the acting thing, right? Where you kind of gotta move up the thing, You
gotta move up the ladder. Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's a fun time. It's difficult.
Yeah.
But we're working at it. And things are going well. Things are improving. So,
Good.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the end of this episode. Michael, thank you so much for joining. Is there anything you want to leave the listeners with?
I'll just say this: in the ability to be present and to learn. And my wife and I were just talking about last night. She's reading this book that's like a real slow burn. And I don't know if I classify this movie as a slow burn, but it's a longer movie. And I actually like long movies, provided they keep me engaged. And this one, I was just thinking about as you're talking about, like, it's another. So there's a certain director that he has really long films, and I'm like, but there's no wasted film. I'm never like, oh, he could have tossed, that was useless. He could have tossed that film out. That scene out. And I feel that way about this film, as I'm like, despite the length, it keeps it moving. It keeps you engaged. And to translate that into life is like, sometimes there's these long periods, and to be able to be present and listen. And for me, what you said, where he doesn't figure it out right away, to me, I always describe it like this thing starts in the back of my head, and it eventually works it up to my consciousness, where I'm like, oh, now I get it. And so I just think being able to be present, even in those times where things are going really, really wrong, where things are not going right, whether by your own hand or somebody else's hand, it's just not going well. And being able to stay present in that moment and learn from it, I think is a critical life skill that'll serve you well. So
lovely. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining on these episodes. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I'm sure that we'll have you on again in the future.
Be very grateful.
For sure.
I'm grateful for this. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, listeners. Thank you so much for listening. Next week, we will continue going through Gladiator, and I guess maybe actually seeing how he becomes a gladiator, because I feel like that should be the next thing that we learn about, but I don't know. I've been wrong before. But until then, I'll catch y'all later. Thank you so much for listening.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for listening to this episode of Post Finale. Post Finale is created, hosted, and produced by me, Ankit Madhira. Our editor is Pranav Nair. The music is by Ankit Madhira and Megan Hutcherson, and the art is by Jarid Rother. If you are all enjoying this episode and want to gain access to more bonus content, you can do so by heading over to patreon.com/coopforge and signing up for any of the tiers. You get loads of different bonus content, such as notes and commentary that we have as we're watching the films, as well as some bonus audio, some bonus videos, and ad-free episodes, early access if we get them done early, and different things like that. All of that can be found at patreon.com/coopforge, and that's patreon.com/co_opforge. If you want to help out the show in a non-monetary way, that's great as well. Tell a friend about the show. Just reach out and be like, hey, you love films, or hey, you need an excuse to watch some more films. Check out the show called Post Finale. The host is an actor, and he's funny and silly, confused most of the time, but they have interesting discussions about some popular films that I think you would really enjoy. It really does help us out a lot. Be sure to talk about us on social media at Post Finale Pod on Instagram and Facebook. And you can also follow us at CoopForge, that's CO_OPFORGE, on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And there we post content not just from Post Finale, but also from the other shows hosted here on Co-op Forge, which are Flip the Scripts and Seattle Across the Pond. So a lot of fun things can be found over there on our social media. It really, really does help us out a lot. Thank you to everyone who has already done this. Thank you to everyone who will do this in the future. It really does mean a lot to us, and it helps us create better content for you, the listeners, as we grow. It really does help, and thank you so much for listening to this episode of Post Finale, and I can't wait until next week. And until then, I'll catch you all later.